Hello, everyone. My name is Shirley Lee, and I'm the Children's Librarian from the Lincoln Heights Branch Library with the Los Angeles Public Library. I'm here to welcome you to today's Big Read program with some amazing presenters from Los Angeles. Before we begin, we recognize and acknowledge the first people of this land, honor their elders, past and present, and the descendants who are citizens of these nations. For more information on which territory you may reside on, check out native-land.ca. We would like to also recognize the ongoing refugee crisis. For more information, check out rescue.org/topic/refugee-crisis. We'd like to thank the National Endowment for the Arts Big Read, a partnership with Arts Midwest, Department of Cultural Affairs, the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Lenore S. and Bernard A. Greenberg Fund, the Library Foundation, and the behind-the-scenes staff for helping to bring this program to you virtually. In addition, we would like to thank the Friends of the Chinatown Library for supporting our Big Read program series. If you would like to see more of our amazing programs, please visit our online calendar at lapl.org/events. Our website also has blog posts and video links that highlight the library's diverse resources and upcoming programs. Participants at today's program will have a chance to win a free copy of The Best We Could Do. Email bigread@lapl.org to receive the link to the survey to be entered into our opportunity drawing to win a free copy of The Best We Could Do. You can also scan the QR code on the screen to access the survey. If during this program you're finding that you're having a difficult time, please contact the Los Angeles County Emotional Support Warm Line at 800-854-7771 and available 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. And now, on to today's program. I would like to introduce our two hosts. TINTIN V is a Lao-born American singer-songwriter within the LGBTQIA+ community, with a sound as varied and eclectic as his upbringing. Having grown up between Laos, Tennessee, Michigan, and Florida before settling down in California, his influences draw from a multitude of experiences that have shaped his worldview. Saeng is a personal chef and a content creator based in Los Angeles that focuses on centering and uplifting Lao food and the Lao community. Through his digital work, he shares lyrical anecdotes with Lao food recipes. He has been featured on Delish, BuzzFeed, LA Times, and will be a contestant on an upcoming TBS cooking show, Rat in the Kitchen. And now, let's welcome Saeng and TINTIN.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. So hello, Sabaidi, to everyone that's joining us today. My name is Saeng Douangdara, and then we have...
And I am TINTIN Vongphrachanh, also just go by TINTIN V. Yeah, thanks for joining us, you guys. We are from Los Angeles, and we're so excited to be here to co-host this event. And we just want to say thank you to the LA Public Library first for having us for the Big Read. Huge opportunity. We're so excited. We are, again, from Los Angeles. We are an LA-based inclusive organization out here trying to uplift and amplify Lao American and Lao diaspora voices in any way, shape that we can.
It's that singing voice coming out. I love it. So now here at Los Angeles, we also use the term diaspora of Laos or people of Laos as opposed to the term Laotian. That's because Laotian is often a political phrase, and so we like to that's used to refer to all ethnic groups and citizens of Laos.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Laos is so much more diverse than folks realize, right? We've got over 160 ethnic groups. We've got 82 different languages, that cover generations of migration and, and movement around and what have you. We're there are Hmong folk that live in Laos. There are Lao folk. There are Khmu. There are Thai Dam, Thai Lu. There's so many different spaces, in Laos, and hopefully we can highlight some of those today, And also, like, back to what Saeng was saying about, like the term Laotian, right? We, I believe for some of us, I know myself, we refer to each other as, the people of Lao. I refer to myself as a Lao person. And I think it's, I want to believe that it's a little bit more inclusive, but everyone is, has their own preferences with that as well, though,
Yeah, and so like kind of adding to that, we want to also like mention that identity is a very big piece for, I think, not just us, but for everyone. And so that's why when we say Laotian, it may misinform others when it comes to like different ethnic groups, because they're not always ethnically Lao. And so that's why we prefer using the term people or diaspora of Laos. And so for us, Los Angeles, we want to be inclusive, and we think that is more of an inclusive way of doing it. And of course, this isn't like a textbook rule. So whether someone identifies as Lao, Laotian, and or other ethnic groups in Laos, it is really depends on that person. So ask. That's the way to find out.
Yeah, when in doubt, ask. When in doubt, ask, definitely. You know what I mean? And I think it's out here in Los Angeles, we're very fortunate to have folks who are from various backgrounds, who are in different trades and different spaces, always doing different things, and it's cool to share. So we're glad to have you guys here with us. Thank you for joining us,
Tintin, do you want to share a little bit about, I know she did a wonderful introduction, but a little bit about a more thorough introduction of who you are as maybe a singer, songwriter, a gaming person?
Oh yeah. So I started. My family was born. Most of my family was born in Laos. We migrated when I was a baby, and my journey through the culture has been really wonderful, and I'm really, again, happy to have met all of you guys, you included, Saeng, and everyone here. And that has really started to inform a lot of the work that I do. I came out to Los Angeles. I almost said Los Angeles. Came out to LA as a performer, a musician, a dancer, and what have you. But now I work in the video game space. I recently started my own company to publish and produce my own video games, and I've been doing that for 2 years now. And actually today I would like to share a couple of screenshots from my first upcoming title called the Quanstone Project. Which is all inspired by Lao. This is the first slide that we're going to show you here. I started working in this video game years and years ago, you guys. And then once I found Los Angeles and got more involved with my community and everything kind of came together, and the story started to wrap around, the culture. And it's been a wonderful journey for me to sort of research and just, I was able to go back to Laos and everything as well. And I'm still working on the game. Unfortunately, I was hoping to have it ready by now, but it will hopefully be out sometime this summer, sometime this year, and it'll be on all mobile devices for everyone to try out. And this will be something I'll be doing for a while. So thanks for asking, Saeng.
Yeah, Tintin, no, the games and the screenshots, they look amazing. Like, I'm really excited to play, but I'm wondering, like, how does someone even decide, like, I'm going to create this game? I have no clue of how to even create a game. And how did you decide to like morph your life experience or culture into this game?
What's crazy is that, like, I've always known that was a space that I wanted to head into. And, like most people during the quarantine, during lockdown in, early 2020, I was like, you know what, I've got a lot of time. So I bought the programs. I did everything I could. I took classes. I taught myself how to code and do all the art and everything. And then I think the fascination for me was just, learning more about our culture and tying it to the game itself, and everything, as much of the game as possible is tied back to ceremonies that we practice in Laos. The whole game starts on like the day of a Basi Sukwan, which is a big ceremony that we'll discuss later in the program today too. And then there's like Lao food will be used as like power-ups, and different things like that. So I just want to bring as much of the culture in, and it's fascinating. As a creative, it's exciting for me to find a happy medium and merger between the two. You know what I mean? But speaking of food, though, Saeng, let's talk about you real quick, though. Like, you've got some stuff to share. Like, I mean, I love watching your videos. I always reference back to your videos when I'm like, I want to see like Lao food. I'm like, how does Saeng make his version of something else like that? Tell me about how you got started in that space.
Yeah, so I guess long story short, so my family's from Savannah Kit area in the South. I believe you said your mom is also from that area.
Yeah.
And so my family, we went to the refugee camps, and I was born in them. And so we left when I was 2 years old, so I don't remember anything, which is probably a good thing. But then we landed into the wonderful land of Wisconsin, full of cheese. And so my upbringing, yeah, my upbringing was pretty much, cheese on one day, then the next day we'd have like sticky rice. And I have always been a person that has just like, people say I'm a good listener, and I think I am. And so I kind of went towards the route of being trained as a mental health counselor in school. But once I started being an academic counselor at different universities, I found that what drew my heart and my soul was more of food, and particularly Lao food. And so that's why I kind of just took a deep dive into our culture and our food. I mean, I think both of us, like, we grow up eating and experiencing food, but we don't maybe value it as much until we get older, and understanding how much our parents had to like, how they brought the food of Laos into like whatever state, Michigan, Wisconsin. And I think that's why I started just creating. I decided to leave my job, flew to Laos for a month, experienced, the motherland, and then came back with no job. But then I told myself, I'm going to be a personal chef. And I became one.
Just go for it.
And I think it was just, the confidence in your culture, who you are, what your family has given you, that kind of ingrained into my career, what I do now. And so right now I do a little bit of personal chef on the side. And then a lot of my work is developing different videos and content regarding Lao food and my personal Lao stories. And I think we actually have one story that we're going to watch.
Oh yeah, let's watch it. Let's see it.
Growing up Lao in America, I felt alone. I never fit in at school because I couldn't speak English well and had to take ESL. In gym class, we ran 1 mile and I was pushed to the ground so I would finish last. There was always someone to make fun of my name. My name is Saeng Douangdara, and of course I had the back and forth exchange with every new teacher. Fine, my name is Saeng. On the weekends, my family went to birthday parties of other Lao kids, which is usually an excuse for the adults to party, gamble, and drink. We played hide and seek, not knowing we had to hide from the intoxicated uncle that carried so much pain. Depending on the season, I'd go with my parents to the local flower farm, and I think picking flowers with adults was a family bonding activity. It was my parents needing the extra money to feed us. Although these experiences were not the average American kid's life, my backbone and fortitude was built at a young age. Being an immigrant kid means you will be a part-time adult. You will be the translator for your parents at school conferences and hospitals. You will learn how to make the fanciest ramen with fish sauce. And at the heart of it, you will build resilience and strength in connecting with your roots and community.
Yeah, so that was one of the videos of dozens that I make in order to kind of encapsulate my own Lao experiences. So
that's awesome. I love that culture has really given, I think, both of us a space to move forward with our passions, whatever they may be before. I think it has opened up a really, really beautiful route for everyone. And speaking of the culture, we actually have another guest we would like to bring in today, Tip Sulasak. Hello, welcome, Tip.
Sabadi.
Tip is a Lao American cultural consultant and specialist in community advocacy. And Tip, you actually we're talking about culture and everything. You actually just started an organization of your own, right? To bring that to the forefront. And I know you've got an event coming up. Do you mind telling us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I recently, over the pandemic, just like everybody else, we all started new projects, and I happen to take on creating a new Lao cultural organization, which it focuses on finding ways to preserve the culture, as well as helping programs for like economic growth within the community, which I think is something we also lack a lot of.
I love that.
I think as far as the event, it is our first event. We're doing a Lao New Year's Festival next week, May 28th, starting at 9 a.m. with a religious service, but we go all the way until 8 p.m. So don't worry about having to wake up early if you're not an early bird. But
I feel like you're yelling at me. I feel like you're yelling directly at me about that.
But if you are an early bird and you want to come and see the cultural dances, the parade, the food, yeah, we would love to have you.
I'm excited. I'm so excited. I know you're bringing in other Lao voices and people from like all over the country and everything, right? I know you've got dance troops and different folks coming in, traveling in for the event and everything, which is so exciting. You guys check that out. We'll have links for all of Tip's work as well. Tip, can you tell us a bit more about yourself though, and what led you down this road? Like how you, what is it about this that you were like, I got to do this?
I think it was a gradual navigation towards that. I came from a Luang Prabang, a Thai Mung Luang family, which is kind of like the royal city of Laos, the old ancient capital, and they tend to be bigger stricklers on the arts and the culture. And so anytime we did social gatherings, everything culturally and religiously had to be on point. And so they kind of embedded that in me, and I started taking on, I think I naturally navigate towards like art projects and DIY projects, and a lot of it was cultural arts and cultural DIY. And so I just gradually picked it up and began to learn what this is and what that is and how it involves that. And through time, all of that just yeah, all that knowledge is just piled up inside of me.
Tip, you definitely have a lot of knowledge, and I love, like, every time I feel like we're all in a gathering, you're always sharing some new piece that I'm always learning. But I think for the people that are not familiar with Lao New Year, can you talk about like the customs, the importance of the customs? So like the things I think about is like takpa. Why is that important during Lao New Year? Why is Lao New Year even important in general? So I kind of grabbing all.
I think a lot of Lao holidays, especially Lao New Year, has Laos is a culture. Laos had its own culture before Buddhism, and then when Buddhism came in, they started incorporating in Buddhism. So a lot of our holidays, even though they have nothing to do with Buddhism, it is very common that you also make sure to go get your Buddhist blessings and things like that in the morning in order to celebrate that holiday or that special event. So what you'll see when you go to a Lao New Year's festival, or even if you go to Laos, that a lot of people on New Year's Day will go to a Lao temple and give offering as a way of creating good merit, or as we say, karma. And they'll go through all the religious activities, and then they'll go out and have a grand old time and celebrate. And there are multiple traditions that go into a Lao New Year celebration. Aside from the fun gatherings and parties, there's something we call Sukwan Basi, which is a ritual that you arrange flowers and candles and treats, and you sit around it, and then you call what they call Kwan, which is spirit, or you could say it's your chi. A lot of people believe that we have different chis which protect different parts of our body, and if one of those are missing, you're kind of not whole. And whatever you do going forward is going to be done as a partial person almost. And so therefore it won't be done with the 100% intent or 100% confidence. And therefore it's a time to call back your Kwan.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah, there's multiple things like that. But if you dig deeper, that's what a lot of elders would tell us, right? But as a cultural expert, I dig even deeper than that. And I found out that things like Sukwan Basi really is just a confidence booster ritual that started. And anytime that somebody's going to go on to travel, anybody's not feeling well, you gather all your family and your loved ones, all this, the people that mean something to that person. Gather them around to create this ritual to make them have the confidence and the strength to continue on their journey, or continue to battle their illness or their ailments, or continue or begin their life as a new married couple and a family.
So it's like a spiritual reset.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah.
I was even thinking like a spiritual to-go bag or a spiritual present. I was like, here, take this with you. Like, I mean, in my wild head, I think.
Yeah, I would even call it a mental health ritual, like a group mental health ritual.
Oh, that's awesome. Because I was like, did you pack the food? Did you get the first aid kit? Oh, we got to check in. We got to check in with ourselves. You know, like, I love that. That's awesome. I love it. Thanks for sharing that, Tip. Seriously, I agree with what Saeng was saying. For those of you who are, ever get to be around, anytime Tip is around, we're always like, we've got a question. Ask Tip. Tip is like, you're such a wealth of information, and I thank you for being here with us today too. Seriously.
Thank you for having me.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And again, we will touch base again with Tip at the end of the program, guys, with social media links and information about his events and everything as well. And I think we've got another guest coming in, right, Saeng?
Yes. So our next segment, preserving Lao culture is really important to us, since many of us and our families are refugees of Laos. So we cannot discuss the refugee experience without mentioning the U.S. secret war in Laos. So this is somewhat heavier stuff, but I think we have the right person to talk about this stuff with. And so during the Vietnam War, during the American War in Vietnam, the Pathet Lao, a communist movement, were closely affiliated with the Vietnamese communists. And so that is kind of what alarmed the U.S. government, resulting into a lot of the monitoring, I can't speak today, monitoring and bombing of Pathet Lao strongholds in Laos.
I love it. I love it. You know, like the bombing in Laos is such a, it's you know, it's something that ties a lot of us together. It was a really, really big event, you know, and it was a way, right, to cut off the communist supply lines to Vietnam, and that was the intention, you know, before they could, you know, reach American troops and everything. And what was it? I think 1964 to 1973. The statistic is that the U.S. dropped more bombs on Laos than any other war combined, right? We're talking, what was it? I think the number, it was like 8, like there was a bomb being dropped every 8 minutes, 24 hours a day for 9 years straight, right? And we know that there's still many bombs in Laos that are still there. You know, it's still an issue that is ongoing, right?
Yeah, so over 2 million tons of ordnance on Laos. That's like, I can't even, it's hard to comprehend. Right.
Yeah, I can't think of 2 million anything, you know, and to think that, and I know I personally, that my family has been affected by it. You know, I know tons of other Lao American families have been displaced, you know, and it's still an ongoing issue today. You know, decades later, we're still seeing communities, you know, that are coming from war, you know, and it's a topic that some of it, you know, it's hard to touch base on because, you know, we've got folks in different areas of it, you know, but we do know that if anything, we are all trying to move forward in one degree or another, you know, and healing is such a, it's tough. Healing is tough, right? Healing is tough, which is why I think we always, you know, sometimes we do need to look to, you know, more versed folks for this kind of experience, you know, when it comes to healing. And I think our next guest is someone who can help us with that.
Yes. So our next guest is actually, so I consider she's right there. Her name is Rita Guy. And Rita, she is a Lao Isan American politicized healing practitioner. I'm going to repeat that again because that's an important identity. Lao Isan American politicized healing practitioner, period, and creator and host of the Healing Out Loud podcast. So welcome, Rita.
Wow! Sabay Tintin Cup. Dang!
Have you. So we're gonna get right into like those deep questions because we know you're always ready for deep questions. But in your amazing podcast that you've created, Healing Out Loud, you discuss a lot about intergenerational trauma and community healing with the guests. So why is that work important to you and to the community?
Yes. So I just want to, you know, thank y'all both for, you know, being such wonderful hosts, first of all. And I just wanted to also give context, you know, a little backstory, and also just to also acknowledge that Tintin and Saeng have also been on my podcast. So Healing Out Loud, as you both know, but for the greater audience, is created to really bring Laos stories into the mainstream media. And not only that, but how do we create a space where our generation, the children of the diaspora, are able to be seen, heard, and validated? And y'all talk a lot about the war, and a lot of times, you know, even us, we don't know what had happened because, you know, our parents, because they're, you know, they've gone through so much trauma. It's hard for them to really understand or even acknowledge, you know, the pain, the violence, the bombies that were dropped. And, you know, for me, I had the privilege of, you know, I grew up in the South, actually. I was born in the US, unlike y'all both. I was born in the US. So, you know, had, you know, a little leg up, but I had the privilege of my dad actually being able to share his story. So I got Lao history growing up, unlike a lot of, you know, our peers in our generation. Every single night, you know, dad would be like, all right, you know, dinner time is on, and, you know, we're going to talk for the next couple of hours. But, you know, what I noticed until like, I got to LA. So I moved to LA from North Carolina in 2013. Started building community, got in touch with other Lao Americans, and actually some folks here, some of the presenters here. And then finally, discovered Los Angeles and, continue to community build. And what I noticed across time was that, our stories, when I'm hearing across, all of, my peers, is that there's some form of violence that happened, whether we are able to acknowledge it or not, some form of violence, domestic violence, sexual violence, and, you just name it, and no space to actually hold that pain or to acknowledge it ever. And so, I got into, actually, I came to I came to LA to do my master's in Asian American Studies and social welfare. I thought, I would do research to inform policy practice, and I ended up doing storytelling, and I ended up, just building community. And, the more conversations I had, and I was building skills on terms of how to acknowledge and address mental health. But even in the mental health institution, I wasn't seeing services for my community. And then it took me a long time. I had to overcome a lot of imposter syndrome, and, figuring out like, why am I the best person to talk about these issues? And then I was like, why am I not, And so it kind of, like Saeng talked about earlier, is just having that confidence, and, just very grateful for Los Angeles for being such a great foundation and support, because I could not do this work without you all, to be honest. To be quite clear, it's a community effort. Healing Out Loud is for the community, by the community. So it's a really grassroots approach, because of these stories, and these stories that are so integral to our healing process. But, all of us, haven't had that space in the mental health field, because mental health in the US is very white. And so I wanted to take my knowledge and skill sets and apply it in my community and really help us heal, so we don't repeat cycles of violence like our parents experienced. And when we heal with our ancestors too. And so that's kind of my modality. Yeah, go with it. Yeah, so I'll leave it like that. Do we go to the temple or what? Woo!
I want to say, like, it's so. Thank you for all of that, and thank you for sharing your work and yourself with us always. And Saeng and I, like you say, we've both been featured on your podcast, and it's wild. Like, every time we talk about healing, you are also somebody, a beacon in the community that we run to, and because you do this work so well. And I want to say, you do it without shame, you do it without guilt. You really do, put your, like, you really do what you say you're going to do, and you do provide wonderful space. And and just and throughout your podcast, like, you're on how many seasons now? You've done
my second season, and I just started in 2019. Yeah, we have 2 seasons and over 35 guests that have been on so far.
Out of all of your guests, how often does family come up?
All the time. Family is such a huge part of, how we navigate relationships, growing up. And, every single guest talk about their family life. And that's how they really began to, acknowledge, why do I do this certain behavior? Why do I, isolate myself a lot more? Why am I more attached, more so? Even, me and my brothers, we're like very different. Because also think about the intersection. So what I bring to the podcast is not only family life, but intersections of birth order. Was I born first? Was it born second? Or was I the baby? How are women being treated as opposed to men? As opposed to growing up queer? What is that like? What is that like to do a non-traditional work life and be abandoned by your family, your first family? And what does it mean to not have a family and to be disconnected, after and being in the context of a global refugee community, to be disconnected in that way? So we got a lot to heal, but I'm so pleased. I'm so grateful for the response and the feedback from the community, and I've gotten so much collaborations that have happened from other refugee diasporas. So it's not just the Lao community. You think about the Syrian refugees, you think about the Central Americans, it's all interconnected. And that's what I love, that, this space, we can, continue to connect. And when we heal ourselves, we really liberate, all of our communities, really.
Rita, thank you so much for doing the work. This is hard work. Like, thank you. Like, we are so grateful for you. The community is grateful for you. And for those of you listening, these are heavy topics. And, as someone who's not just been on her podcast, but listened to her podcast as well, Rita touches on, all the great stuff, heavy stuff that will open your life and your eyes and your ears and everything. But the thing about Rita is Rita does it with such a joy and and candor, and just you are a light. So thank you for doing the work, Rita. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And we're gonna touch base with you at the end as well. Thank you for being here and just bringing that to our attention and everything. After let's turn up. I love everything she does.
It's amazing.
Had a couple of, I think our next guests coming out of that, let's talk about how we use our culture to move forward, right, in the vein of healing and everything. I know for you and I, we've shared our projects and everything. But actually, for those of you listening at home, the next two guests that we're going to bring up actually are not here with us today. They're unfortunately unavailable, but we have some of their work to share. They are two phenomenal, Lao American musicians. Like, they're good friends of ours. Every time they're around, you give them a microphone, the night is over. These are you do karaoke, you give it to them. They will do it. They can sing anything. They're amazing friends of ours. We're first gonna actually talk about Lina Lungta, who is a Lao American singer-songwriter, and she is, in her own words, a beast. Okay, she is a beast, and we're actually going to share a video of her performing her track "Beast" for all of you to see here now. You guys ready? Saeng, you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
I actually wasn't born in this country. I'm a refugee from Laos. Laos is a country in Southeast Asia. My family had to escape a war there, and so they went west to Thailand, and that's where I was born, in a refugee camp under those circumstances. And so, after we got our papers and documents and everything ready, we came to the States in 1989. In the middle of winter, we came to Chicago, Illinois. Shout out Chi-Town. Chi-Town, yes. And so I grew up there, and I feel like I've been fighting all my life. I feel like, there's a lot of healing that I've been trying to do, and this is just part of it. And I got some pretty good songs from it. This song right here that I'm about to play for you is called Beast. So, like I said, 4 chords, all right? Yo, baby. Woo! I'm not really focused on the physical. I just want to say something that's real and really spiritual. Not supposed to be here, I'm a mother miracle. Mama tried avoiding me. I heard it from my sibling, yo. He slipped up and said that he was kidding, but in his eyes I knew the truth he was spitting. It was way too late to take back now. My world came crashing down like planes in the Twin Towers. But mama, I get it, third world city, so it's only the fittest survive. Yeah, mama, I get it, no food, no cash to keep your 3 kids alive. But I'm not done living ever since they dropped us off that one cold winter in the town of Shy back in '89. The world was mine to make my Pardon the people that I came with. Pardon my truth. Pardon the reason why I'm here in the first place. Casualty of war in the worst way. Tell me what you know about pain. Trauma in my DNA like it's a dirty stain. I got Heineken and Henny pumping through my veins. Tired of repeating, tired of trying to explain who I am. Damn, who would have thought a little girl from Chonburi, a refugee, could freak the beat, could easily be the next Jay-Z and be combined? I'm so divine, let me run that back. Who would have thought a little girl from Chonburi, a refugee, could freak the beat, could easily be the next Jay-Z and be combined? I'm so divine. Mama raised a beast. Hey, daddy raised a beast. Sister raised a beast. Brother raised a beast. Mama raised a beast. Daddy raised a beast.
Dang, yes.
I'm like clapping over here like that's live.
Lena's voice always just like hits directly into your heart and just makes you
know.
feel everything, right? But I do encourage everyone, if you love Lena and want to see more of her work, go ahead and follow her on our Instagram at Lena V Music. And so we'll just move on to our next artist. And so we have Serena. She's a Mien American singer-songwriter, and a clip of her music for her song M-I-E-N, which not only represents her culture, but also stands for Make Invisible Exist Again. That's really powerful. And so we're going to have a message also following her clip. So let's go ahead and roll that.
Complicated, I know cause we're underrated. M-I-E-N, ask me what I am again. Come close, listen up now. Rena's gonna make it better, help you understand why. Are you Filipino? Nope. Guess again, bet you won't get it right though. I'm in, making invisible exist now. We'll find us on the map, let me show you how. So you wanna catch a young girl, may found fate. She did something good, thumbs on top of that clump and say, I'm a girl, say, if you take her out, then you ask for the pay. Hide the questions, quit asking what are you, where you from. Giving you a lesson, I'll teach you something new, we'll have some fun. Even though she got my name, don't say we all look the same. No magic trap, we are one of a kind. Picture so deep it'll blow your mind. M-I-E-N, ask me what I am again. Don't fret, yes it's complicated, I know cause we're underrated. M-I-E-N, ask me what I am again. Come close, listen up now. Rena's gonna make it better, help you understand why. He'll trap, 12 clans on my side. Say Lee in my veins till I die. Open your eyes to a whole new culture. I know you like that men spice, don't you? Fun to make it hot till your eyes cry. Make it hook so good, you're gonna wonder why. We so fly. Southeast Asia's long and tight. Hide the questions, quit asking what are you, where you from. Giving you a lesson, I'll teach you something new, we'll have some fun. Even though she got my name, don't say we all look the same. No magic trap, we are one of a kind. Touch you so deep it'll blow your mind.
Hello, thanks for having me today. My name is Serena and I'm a recording artist with Enrage Entertainment in Los Angeles. And you just heard my single Mien, which also stands for Making Invisible Exist Now. And I wanted to use that acronym because I just feel like Mien people, even today, are invisible to other ethnic groups. And Mien people are one of many smaller ethnic groups in Laos. We can be found not only in Laos, but in China, Thailand, Vietnam, and all those little neighboring countries, because we don't have our own country anymore. I say that we're invisible because even to this day, people will ask me if I'm Filipino, which that is why that was the first line of the song, because every time I'm asked if I'm Filipino, and I always have to say, nope, guess again. And of course, they never get it right. So that's why that first line is like, it just hits home. And it actually does for a lot of people a lot of other people too, whether they're Mien, Lao, or, because a lot of times people don't even know about Lao people either, even though Lao people, we actually have our own country. But yeah, that song is just super important to me because I not only wanted it to be an anthem for Mien people to take pride in, like, yeah, I'm Mien, this is my song, but also I wrote that song for people who weren't Mien to just know more about our people group and our culture in general. Because there's actually a few fun facts in the song that I included. One of which is I say, so you want to catch a Mien girl, Mei Pham Phay, and I use, those are names. It's Mei Pham Phay are very common Mien names. And my own Mien name is Pham, which signifies that I'm the third daughter of my family. And so if you meet another Pham, if you just happen to come across another girl named Pham, she's most likely the third daughter in her family. And that's just how a lot of our Mien names are given to us. If we're the first daughter, second daughter, third daughter, and so forth. The more you know. So yeah, I just wanted to write something fun for my peoples and for other people to know who we are and that we exist and that there's other Asians besides Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and Filipino. There are the Mien people. M-I-E-N. Now you know. So thanks so much for having me again, and thanks for watching as well. Have a good day.
I love her.
That was a very powerful dancing song.
Yeah, I've listened to her whole EP. It's great. Everything her and Lena put out was really, and something I'm noticing with everything that we're sharing today. And for those who want to follow Serena, right there in the bottom, we're going to touch on that again later as well. But I just love our community because something that I'm noticing as a thread that ties us together, aside from our heritage and the diaspora, is just our ability to tell stories, right? And story through music, through interactive media, through food, through TikToks, through cultural preservation, through healing, podcasting, whatever it is. And I think storytelling is such an important part of our culture these days. Yeah.
So speaking about storytelling, I'm actually really excited for this segment because I'm a fan of horror movies, and when it's a Lao horror movie, even better. So our next guests are master storytellers who collaborated on a short film on a Lao ghost story. So please welcome our actor, playwright, Ova Sao Peng, and actor and writer, Ted Mahatongdi. So thank you so much.
สบายดีพี่น้องพี่นาย
Sabaydi.
Fam.
So you both wrote and starred in the film Bai Non, a Lao ghost story about a Lao man who suffers from PTSD from the Secret War. And we actually have a clip we're going to show in a little bit, but can one of you explain what we're about to see and what's going to be happening?
Well, in the clip that we're going to show, we have Ova, who plays the lead character, Khan, and he's been struggling. He's been struggling with his life. He's been struggling with his marriage and struggling with his identity as a refugee. And under pressure for a deadline, and he prays to his ancestors. Power goes out, and he's scared that he lost all his work. Runs in, stops the prayer, but what he doesn't realize is something scarier is even about to happen.
Okay, I'm ready, but I'm not ready. Let's roll it.
Gosh, here we go.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato sama sambuddhassa. No! What? Where's my pop? What the?
Okay. Well,
Enoch.
okay. Well, let me just say, I'm sure everyone agrees. The work is amazing. The quality, the shots, the sound, the acting. It's a great piece of work. But I am terrified.
Good. You should be.
Mission accomplished. Woo.
Yes. Good job.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of us, remember growing up watching these like old scary films and like from the VHS stores, it was like take 27 through like 56. There was always ghost stories. I remember personally, like my family and my grandma, both of them particularly, had a real affinity for horror stories and stuff like that. And back in the day, right, those were like practical effects, which is like all the most scarier. But I want to ask you guys, like, what, of all the genres, I know you're both amazing working actors and actresses, you continue to do great work in every space. But what was it about horror that drew you to and wanting to tell this story?
Well, Pat, go for it.
I'll start actually, because I think being a refugee, there's so much horror, and so it's such a horrific experience in so many ways and so much terror. And I've known Ova for a really long time, and I love horror movies, and I didn't realize that Nightmare on Elm Street was based on Southeast Asian men dying in their sleep. He took that story and turned it into Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, when I met Ova had mentioned to me that his father died in his sleep. So it's something we have talked about doing for a long time. And I'm so glad that we finally got to collaborate and do it. But Ova, you take over and you share.
Definitely. This story is very personal to me because of, there's so many rich stories from our culture, from the old country. And then, what happens from the old country when you come back to this new country, right? And part of it is that story that you're seeing here and amongst many of the other stories and artists that we've kind of highlighted today. I met Pet, I always say I have my Laodar on, my Lao radar on, because I'm always looking for other Lao folks, because representation really matters. Connecting with each other really matters. And Pet and I met in an audition, and then from that audition, we got to know each other. We also have kids. We're both parents. So she has her kid, I have my kid, and it's like we have these mixed race kids who are like growing up without this culture. It's like, how do we, come together and connect? She had come to see a play that I had done called Refugee Nation, which is back here, a play that is about the Lao American refugee experience. And in that, there is a character that is a soldier, a Lao soldier, who is dealing with his PTSD. And so that's kind of some of the thing that I had brought in personally from my life into this character. Also to say that Savannah Kid represent Savannah Kid, and also to say that, Pet and I, as we talked about this project, and what I love about this is that just from that connection, we built these opportunities to come together and do something together. Because it's hard to find someone who, understands you or connects with you culturally, who understands what's going on. And so this was something I thought that was meant to be. And we were meant to be to meet with each other as brothers and sisters in the world of entertainment, because there weren't that many Lao American actors that I had known, even at the time that I had met Pet. So to say that, this was meant to be, right, Pet? And I remember the inspiration was you had been talking about it, and then we were at a beach. We were at Mother's Beach. And we had a conversation, and then I think I was like, you're gonna have to do this film. You're gonna do it, and you told me
you're gonna have to star in it.
Right. But that's kind of how sometimes it works. It takes time, and I have to say, it's been really wonderful to be able to work together in this as both Lao American artists, coming together, putting, this film together to share it with, other folks. And we sent it to festivals, Seattle Film Festival. There were a lot of wonderful folks who got to see it there. And this is before the pandemic. So, talk about horrors. That's a whole nother horror. So, but it's wonderful.
So many stories. Yeah, we have so many stories to tell. So I hope we continue to do these projects and put them out there. And what's interesting is when we first started submitting this, we submitted to horror horror film festivals, and it did well. But at the same time, we were doing Asian American film festivals too, and that's where it really resonated because of trauma within that community. I had so many people coming up to me, and I think Ova, you had the same experience, that they understood this level of pain, and that I felt like white audiences didn't really get. They saw the horror, they saw the ghosts, those were all freaky things, but they didn't understand the pain that the ghosts, the P is Lao for ghosts, the P represented. So that was really, really neat. I mean, we had some audience members who got really emotional, and that was really touching for me, I know.
And that's the great thing about storytelling. Actually, great storytelling is that it's a very narrow, a personal story that's very specific, because it is specifically about this character from this world. But in that specific story, there's universal human themes, and I think that's what's powerful about this film and about the work that we do, is that you have to be specific, and in that specificity, you explore the human condition. And I think that's what resonates with a lot of audiences in terms of what we do. So it's just been amazing. And I'm so glad, we met through Theater Productions, the company that I've been, running, and to say that uplifting refugee and immigrant stories are really, really important, and here. And I love expanding that network with this amazing organization, Laos Angeles, as we all are here. So,
no, thank you, you guys. Yeah, that was, what you were saying, Pat, about like reaching out to Asian American film festivals and getting that sort of connection. This just popped in my head. It was like representation does matter.
Yes, it does.
Right? And not just like as a blanket statement, but like representation. Like just watching that clip for me, like representation is a bridge to connection, right? So hearing Ova, recite, prayer chants that I grow up knowing, like there was an instant connection for me, right? And the reverence of that and what that can mean when it's, and just like in like the set decorating, like things in the background. You guys did a great job. Seriously. Kudos.
Yeah, I think like for me as like a horror fanatic, like nothing scares me like as much as like Asian horror movies.
Yeah.
Like your own like Lao community make this amazing horror that I think that hits home so much, because like I value it so much, but I also get scared even more at the same time. But I'm also wondering, like, how has the impact been for sharing this with the Lao community, or even like the outside communities that have been able to watch this? What have you all seen, or have people told you stuff?
Well, my mom won't watch it. No,
Why?
She says that's bad juju. You don't bring that in here.
Like you're bringing a Ouija board horn. Like she's like, oh, keep it out of here. Okay.
What about you, Opa?
It's powerful. I think it's powerful in a sense that it brings people together. It really, and it's about stories, right? I mean, and there is truth to some of the story, and that's what's the great thing about the creative process. We can take that creative license to kind of expand it and really use our imaginations. But I say there's always a grain of truth in many of the horror stories that we do see, right? And so it's fear that we have, but think about it in a way of, again, as a refugee coming to a new country, having to dealing with the language, having to raise children, figuring out a system that you're not, used to. So, all that, kind of leads into the many, the characters.
And yeah, like, can I say also, it's also like the idea of losing bloodline, like losing your bloodline, coming to what our parents went through to bring us here. And that's something I wanted to touch upon in this short, was that he can't have a baby. Like, not that he can't have a baby, but they keep having a miscarriage. So that's like underlying themes. And it's like what my parents struggled. My parents went through war. They got me here, and the bloodline is going to die here in America. So that's like, there's so much, there's a lot of pressure, I think, on, the 1.5, the second, these generations to keep moving forward and honor our parents. It's heavy, it's hard.
And to add to that, how do you move forward, right?
Yes.
As we talk about where we're at right now within even all our guests and how do you move forward? Like, Pat, you and I, we have kids who are of mixed race.
so
Like,
hard, yeah.
what, how do you merge the cultures, the practices, the rituals, what do you hold if you don't have, say, a cultural heritage organization like what Tip is, presenting?
I was just
with,
going to say,
Maharaj.
you call Tip up.
You call Tip. If you want kids who want to do hip hop and stuff, you know what I mean? And so it's just one of those things where you have to learn to, again, adapt. But the question of how one moves forward, I think, is always a big challenge, for anyone, who's in this country and you're trying to figure out how you move forward. What does it mean to be Lao? What does it mean to be, American? How do you merge that or not, And so those are some of the things that I think for me is going to be the future stories, So
Yes.
Well, seriously, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for joining us. Stick around a little bit, but definitely thank you for that. Thank you for sharing. That was wonderful, and all your insight as well, and everything, and the work that you're doing, both of you. Seriously, thank you so much. Like, you guys are amazing. So privileged to have you guys here and to just be in your space. Seriously, so thank you so much, you guys. I will touch back with you guys in a little bit. All right.
Bopenya.
My goodness, Saeng, how you feeling over there?
I'm shook.
I know.
The wind was blowing real hard when we were watching. I was like, oh no, it's real.
They heard you. The spirits have heard you. The ancestors are, they're aware. Yeah, I mean, what a, it's crazy. Like, just sitting here, and we, most of us in this panel today, for those who are joining us, most of us are familiar with each other, and have been in the same space together. And we've shared space together a lot. But every time, folks share their stories, I get all the more inspired. I get more motivated and what have you, and I want to thank all of the speakers that we had today, and everyone, and for, Lena and Serena, who, shared their art with us today as well. How do you think today went, Saeng? What are you thinking?
I mean, I'm overwhelmed with so much joy and inspiration, empowerment. Like, I'm gonna go make a film after this or something. But it was I'm so happy that we got to do this. This was exciting.
Yeah, this was awesome. This was so awesome. And thank you to everyone who joined us today as well, who's watching from home. We're actually going to go ahead and open it up now to some Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, feel free, to just throw them in the chat, we'll get to them. We've got a couple minutes left here, and we can go a little bit over if we, if we need to as well. But yeah, so yeah, get those questions going, guys. And I think Saeng and I are just going to kind of recap a little bit here. But yeah, it's so, it's like everyone. Oh, and yeah, here's our social media, by the way, everyone. For everyone who would love to follow us. Follow up with anyone that you heard from today, or would like to, dive a little bit more either into the org, at the top of the image there, Laos Angeles, that's our Instagram. All of these are our Instagram handles, by the way. So feel free to, connect with us there, to whatever capacity you would like, more than happy to, chat and hang out and stuff like that. And we can pop that on at the end a little bit as well too. But yeah, that was crazy. That was so crazy. All right, we're going to bring everybody back now. We're going to bring the whole cast back, and then we're going to get this Q&A started. Oh, man.
It's so nice to be together. It's so nice to be together.
Hey, guys.
Hi, y'all.
Oh, man. So cool. It's so cool. It's like all of us are, I think, just like looking at every single one of you, it's like every person that's doing this work is the first person doing this work. And I think that's so cool. Right? Like, that's so awesome.
We are trailblazers. To be Lao is to be a trailblazer. That's all I'm saying.
Right? Like, as terrifying as it is,
Yeah.
right? Like what Pet was saying about like being like part of the 1.5, the one, like just like that is so terrifying. It's so scary, and the imposter syndrome is real. I'm sure
It's so real.
Every creative here feels it, from day in, day out, whatever. But it's also seeing, I think, taking a step back and looking at it as a collective. I'm so proud to be here with you guys. You guys are also great at what you do. Yeah, and for everyone watching at home, I'm not just, I'm just not like tooting their horns. They are all amazing at what they do. And I would tell you if they weren't. I'll tell them too.
We give real good feedback.
There is a question. You want me to read it?
Yeah, go for it.
So the question is, what are ways to support today's speakers and the people of Laos community in general? So I guess right there.
Ali.
That's a good question.
I could start with Healing Out Loud. Yeah. So Healing Out Loud is on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. So a great way to start is by listening, and especially if you just want to listen to stories. And what we shared here is almost like a glimpse of like how Healing Out Loud is and the energy that is on the podcast. Following Healing Out Loud, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Again, any type of visibility and sharing of our posts is greatly, greatly appreciated, supported. Of course, you know, if there's any folks who are here who have like financial means to donate, Healing Out Loud has a Patreon as well as PayPal. And so we can submit that in the chat later on. But yeah, those are some ways to support.
I would say, you know, continue to follow, you know, us in the work that we do. I mean, all these people here in these boxes, as I look at it, you know, all have wonderful work. Check out our work. Come to our events. You know, I mean, there's going to be a Lao New Year festival that Tip is organizing. That's going to be on the 28th down in Garden Grove. So go check that out. You know,
I'll be there.
film. You know, I'm gonna be there.
I'll be there.
There you go. See, you know, check out Saeng's videos on food and creating work. And you know, when Tintin gets his game all full and ready to go, you know, by all means, you know, support us. I'm at Tira Productions. You know, I do a lot of work with refugees and immigrants. And right now, there's actually a virtual showcase that's going on for a lot of Asian American work plays that are being kind of virtually showcased through CATA. That's CAATA virtual showcase. You can look that up. You know, and support us in whatever way you can, and speak up about, you know, being Lao, or, you know, hopefully we're not the only Lao people you know.
And if we are, here's 6 more, right?
There you go.
Well, this is your entry in, so.
I want to share that I believe, you know, and I wanted people to say for everyone here, at least, all of these spaces are welcoming to all. You know what I mean? I think we're in a place where, you know, we're not just like, you won't, if you're not Lao, if you're not even from Laos, if you're not any disassociate, just come and join. Just come and hang out with us. Come have a chat with us, you know, and just meet us where we're going to meet you, you know, just like as a person, you know, and listen, we'll listen back, and we'll share, you know, like our community and what have you. So please come join. Yeah, even if you're not, like, if you're in Garden Grove next Saturday, you know, like, swing by Tips, because you know there's going to be bomb food, right? You know what I mean? It's going to be amazing performers. It's going to be all that stuff. And just come hang out, right? Like, the way that you would go to anyone else, the way you would go to any other festival organization or what have you. And we're here to share, I think. And the best way, you know, to you know, support our community is to just show up for our community, you know, show up with our community, you know, because we're here to share. We're here to share our, you know, our heritage, our stories, our experiences, and what, you know. So yeah, just come hang out with us.
Eat our food.
Yeah.
It's Lao
We
food.
love food. Oh, we love food.
It's about connecting, you know, it really is. It's about connecting. And I think that is something that is a very, if you think about it in Lao culture, you know, we come from a very village and community mentality, right? You know, everyone is connected to everyone in some way or form, you know, and we support each other in the best way that we can, you know. So, and we expand that to everyone. So that's really what it's about. So
Absolutely, 100%. All right, let's see here. Any other questions real quick? Maybe we have time for one more. Does anyone see any questions coming up? You know what? Let's see here. Oh, you know what? Actually, I think we are kind of running on time here. To all of my speakers today and everyone, does anyone have anything else they want to share last minute? Any upcoming projects? We know we've talked about Tips event next Saturday. We've talked about Ova's production coming. Pat, anything coming up that we can share with you yet, or anything? Or
Yeah, I mean, soon.
Yes.
Soon.
Yes.
Stand by.
Yes.
Wait, I
just
hope
say
so.
yes.
Yes.
It's gonna happen, Pet. It's gonna happen.
Keep a lookout for Pat. Keep a lookout for her. And Rita, any updates on new podcasts and new project coming up for you?
Right now, I'm actually working on my licensure to be a clinical social worker. So I will be accepting clients for private practice once I become licensed. So if you're a California resident, please look out for any posts or, you know, for any upcoming, opportunities for individual therapy.
I love it. Can't wait. Again, thank you for that work. And Saeng, what about you?
Yeah, so if you haven't watched Rat in the Kitchen yet, you can still tune in on TBS app, catch episode 5 that I'm on, and also you may or may not see me in the finale, so stay tuned.
Who's the rat?
What else? What about you? Anything else you want to share last minute about the event or anything else moving forward?
No, I mean, I think my mind is purely focused on event mode right now. I have 1 week left to pull off a huge festival that I think the Orange County community, I think a lot of people don't know this. LA and Orange County is a big place that Lao refugees came and settled in. And since they've been here since the 70s, they've never done a Lao New Year's festival. So this would be the first for this community.
Good job,
So
Chip.
that's what's occupying most of my time.
Congrats to that.
Wonderful
I love
gathering.
it. All right, guys. And then for myself, my upcoming mobile game, the Quanstone Project, will be coming out within the next month. So keep an eye on that. Follow any of our channels. I'm sure we'll share everyone's work and everything too. And then next Saturday, the LA Public Library is having another big read event as well. So, keep your links up for that and everything and join for that as well. And one more time, thank you, everybody. Saeng, how you feeling?
Kopchai. Thank you, Saeng. Thank you, Tintin.
Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful to see you all.
LA Public Library. All right, you guys, have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley.
Yes, thank you so much,
you.
everyone, for being here today and sharing your stories with us. That was such an amazing program. And we truly appreciate your time to all our presenters for joining LA Public Library. So let's see. Well, don't forget to email bigread@lepl.org to get a free copy of The Best We Could Do and a gift card for $50 at the library store. Your entry must be in by Wednesday of this coming week. And thank you so much for joining us for today's Big Read program. Check out our next NEA Big Read program by visiting lapl.org/big-read. And finally, please join us next Saturday, May 28th at 1 p.m. for our next Big Read program. We will be having a discussion about intergenerational trauma and how it has impacted Asian American refugees. This program will be on Zoom, so please send us an email to bigread@lepl.org for the link. Until next time, we truly appreciate all your support. The success of all our library programs could not happen without viewers like you. So thank you.